Here at the Rock, Southern Miss just got done beating Alcorn State 40-14 to open the season 1-0 for the first time since 2019. Jackson, who was the team they beat in 2019 to start 1-0?
It was Alcorn State.
That's a great guess.
Look at me.
That's exactly who it was. 42-14, I think, or 40-14. I think we nailed it with our score projections. I had 45-17. You had 52-17. We're pretty much in that range, so pretty nicely done by us. Let's talk about the defense. A lot of questions coming into this game about the secondary. What would they do? How would they look? Would they be able to look the same as Natron Brooks and losing Eric Scott and Natron Brooks? And I think tonight they weren't tested much in the secondary. I think they only threw 9 passes the whole night, or 14 passes the whole night, 5 completed passes. I did not understand Alcorn State's strategy. It was run up the middle, run right, run left. I didn't understand that. But I guess when you have Jay Stanley coming out there making circus interceptions, I wouldn't really want to throw to him anyways. But Jackson, the defense, not a lot of answers tonight, I think, because this isn't a team who's going to challenge them like a Tulane and Florida State will in the next 2 weeks. So I think it is a little bit of concern that the secondary wasn't challenged tonight. You would like to see some down the field shots tonight, just because they're going to see a lot of that, But for the most part, the defensive line, the linebackers, as we expected, dominated.
So I would say a little bit to the contrary. I understand where you're coming from, saying the DBs weren't, challenged enough, but the lack of pass attempts may be because these DBs are so good. I rarely saw any wide open people. I rarely saw any blown coverage. These DBs and this Southern Miss defense as a whole, not just the backfield, were incredible. I was thoroughly impressed. Jay Stanley was waiting to go speak in the post-game press conference, and he's right there, and I'm standing at the camera that we're recording this with now, and I just go over to the side, and I'm like, dude, dog, you looked incredible, because he did. Jay Stanley, absolute machine.
Yeah.
And, MJ Daniels and Dylan Lawrence, these guys, not only in the passing game were they suffocating to the point in which, 14 pass attempts, only 5 completions,
right,
and 2 interceptions. So they had only 3 more pass completions than they had interceptions this entire game. That's insane.
That's crazy.
I'm so impressed by them. Now, given I'm anxious to see what it's going to look like playing against a more high-flying offense, or an offense that's going to try and throw the ball more. But just overall, I would say I'm thoroughly impressed by the DBs in order to keep them to only 14 pass attempts and only 5 incompletions out of that. And like you said, the front 7, good Lord. Even whenever they brought out the 2s, Hayes Puckett.
Yeah, he looked good.
Dog.
Yeah.
He made an open field tackle. The DBs, the D-line, the linebacker, Swayze Bozeman looked incredible. Do not know what that sound is, but it is not pleasant to the ears. And it's continuing. But it's okay, because we're going to leave it in.
Yeah.
But
and one thing I want to add, and I think it's just this question of what this video is entitled. Is this defense ready for Florida State? I think is the question, right? Because you want to go to Tallahassee. If you want to have a shot at winning the game, you're going to have to control Jordan Travis. You're going to have to control these 4- and 5-star receivers that will be running against these corners who, granted, had some good moments tonight, but Florida State's going to throw way more than 14 passes. So I think that's my point, that is this team ready for Florida State? I don't know what the secondary is, but I definitely know that the front 7 looked dominant tonight against a very good, this was a running back who's an all-SWAC running back, a very good offensive line. They're not small in any means. They were matching up as far as size is just as good as the defensive line. And the defensive line dominated tonight, man. They weren't able to run up the middle. They had a total of 182 rushing yards, and I think 78 of those came on that one just busted play that was kind of like an anomaly. I don't even know what was going on there, but just a busted play, And that's obviously, you don't want to see that, but everything else outside of that one busted play looked very contained. There wasn't a lot of times where Alcorn State players were getting out in space or making moves. Open field tackling tonight I thought was especially good. I thought you mentioned Jay Stanley, and I agree with Will Hall when he said this in the press conference. I thought Jay Stanley's best play was not the 2 interceptions. It was a 3rd down, and it was The score was 30-14 or whatever it was at that point, and it was 3rd and 3. Tyler Makin's in for Alcorn. He makes a move and tries to run it up the middle, and Jay Stanley just stuffs him right there. And that's a terrific open field tackle against a guy who is known to use his legs. And something we talked about on the preview podcast, when that quarterback is in space, scramble mode, last year it hurt him. And this year, he made that tackle. They were making those tackles out in space. So you can see kind of the development of the defense, but I want to see it against Florida State next week, and I especially want to see it against Tulane in the following week. So a lot more of that to come on the postgame podcast. That's Jackson Kennedy. I'm Drew Mixon. Find the postgame podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and go watch the SM2 or go read the SM2 the recap on sm2media.com. For Jackson Kennedy, I'm Drew Mixon. Thanks for watching.